But honestly, is it really possible? That's the same question people asked in the 1960s. Can you really connect the world with one single communications platform, like a network of networks?
For years, they've been saying these things would change the world. Now, maybe it's coming true because of internet.
In hindsight, you're probably thinking, that's a stupid question. But humans almost always converge around massive technological shifts. In the early days of the telephone, people actually wondered if machines might be used to communicate with the dead. In 1985, the New York Times suggested that watching computer tutorials on actual television screens will actually help with the transition. Computer phobia didn't even fall out of fashion until the 1990s. That's 20 years after ARPANET delivered their first message, a node-to-node communication from one computer to the other.
It's evolved from a U.S. military bulletin board in the 1970s to a worldwide computer switchboard.
The truth is that, people are scared of change. But we know that change is the only thing guaranteed in life. And the next big step in change is set to take stage. The decentralization of the ways that humans communicate and transfer value throughout the whole entire world is coming with the Internet 3.0. And hopefully, just hopefully, you don't get left behind. What's going on, everybody? Alex back with another cryptocurrency video, and today I'm going to be giving you guys the ultimate price prediction for Ethereum. Okay, guys, if you're not already convinced about cryptocurrency and blockchain technology, if you're not already convinced about Internet 3.0 and the decentralization of the World Wide Web, which is basically your reality if you're spending more than 60% of your day, which most of you are on the internet, well, this is the video for you. I'm going to be providing you guys with the most overwhelming evidence I have ever provided in any video before about Ethereum and how this is going to take over the world. It's going to take over the internet. It's going to increase in value and potentially, hence my price prediction, get to $16,000 to $17,000 per cryptocurrency, per coin, per Ethereum, per ETH in the next 3 years. Okay, I'm going to dive into specifics. Of course, I'm going to give you guys the unique perspective that I give in my videos, which is like the fundamental analysis of the cryptocurrency. I'm going to be looking at some charts, diving into some technical analysis, and I'm trying to give you guys basically a holistic macroeconomic perspective that you won't find anywhere else. If you haven't already subscribed to the #1 cryptocurrency channel on the internet, do us both a favor, hit that subscribe button as well as the push notification bell so you can get videos like this all the time. I try to keep it down to earth. I'm just trying to provide practical knowledge that you can apply to your life today. Okay, guys, so let's jump into the video. Now, the first thing I kind of want to look at, I woke up this morning, is a little story. I woke up this morning and I looked for some, cryptocurrency articles and everything. And I saw that JP Morgan perspectives, JP Morgan actually is talking, they launched a 74-page report about blockchain, digital currency, cryptocurrency, and moving back into the mainstream. And that's funny, to think, because back in 2017, JP Morgan actually bashed, cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is a fraud and will eventually blow up. It's worse than tulip mania.
This week, JP Morgan's CEO, Jamie Dimon, said that the cryptocurrency Bitcoin is, quote, worse than tulip bulbs and will eventually blow up because it is, quote, a fraud.
So you have to ask yourself this question. Why haven't you smashed the like button on this video for the YouTube search algorithm? And then you got to kind of refocus and then re-ask this question. Why are these big countries like China banning Bitcoin and then unbanning it and then banning it again? Why is JP Morgan, this huge organization, talking bad about cryptocurrency? But then we know that they're highly involved in blockchain technology. As you can come here, there's a whole website dedicated to JP Morgan's blockchain and technology experience. They made their own coin. They talk about all the time, JP Morgan's on the Ethereum Alliance. Actually, that's one of the biggest catalysts for Ethereum when it went, I believe, don't quote me on this, from $90 to like 150 or something like that. It boomed the day that the news came out that JP Morgan joined an organization that helps, the price of Ethereum go up and adoption. And they basically helped with the development of Ethereum in general. Look it up, the Ethereum Alliance. Why are these big organizations bashing it? It's because of manipulation, guys. I've told you guys in multiple videos, there's big influences out there, countries, people with a lot of money that are manipulating the wild, wild west of finance. They'll do anything in their power to get cheap cryptocurrency. That's why I always tell you guys, to have a long-term strategy. Don't try to day trade. Have a long-term sound strategy that can help you sleep at night. There's huge, emotional factors in one of the most volatile markets in the world, and it's going to keep you up. And you're going to lose a lot of your money if you're trying to do, if you have any type of short-term perspective. But speaking of banks, in an unrelated train of thought here, Wells Fargo agrees to pay $3 billion fine to resolve fake account scandal. It's going viral on the internet. And if you guys don't know what that is, basically they had a scandal back in the day where they would inflate their sales numbers by opening, fake accounts.
Tonight, the country's fourth largest bank, Wells Fargo, is paying up, agreeing to a $3 billion settlement with the Justice Department and the SEC after employees under pressure to meet sales goals created millions of fraudulent bank accounts between 2002 and 2016.
And, it kind of reminds me.
Forging customer signatures, creating PINs to activate unauthorized debit cards, and moving money to unauthorized accounts.
How do we get more transparency? Blockchain. Did you guys hear that? Did you guys hear maybe I'm going crazy. But, decentralization, the public ledger lets you see everything that happens. You can, basically look into the infrastructure of these businesses without any, secrets or anything like that. And it would definitely resolve this problem.
But according to officials, none of the $3 billion penalty will go back to defrauded customers.
But, we're looking at Ethereum here. So if we look here, we can see that I was getting into historical data, excuse me. If I come up here, you see that Ethereum was $261 as today, right? And you can see that if I go to the chart here, at one point it was $1,400. So what are going to be the main catalyst in Ethereum rising back to $1,400 and then further, maybe potentially $16,000 per coin, right? Like I talked about, right? And the last bull run, this last, I guess you could say the bubble popped right here. The catalyst behind it, and this is my, this is popular opinion, but this is one of my opinions, is that it was for ICOs, right? ICOs, initial coin offerings, is basically equivalent to IPOs, right? Where a company comes out, offers a new innovative product, and they get the technology of Ethereum, being that they're coding their, technology platform under, the platform of Ethereum. It's kind of like saying an operating system with applications, right? They have an app, and this app comes out, and they, have this whole big fundraiser, and millions of dollars were raised. And this, the speculation, this was the last catalyst for Ethereum. And I would say, cryptocurrency as a whole. People were speculating and there was no product, right? Nothing actually worked. And I believe the new catalyst for Ethereum and the whole market is actual applications, actual value, people actually using these, these cool, really cool decentralized apps that you don't see anywhere in the world. And, if you guys, for all the, the people out there that really don't like Ethereum and they're critics of Ethereum, they're dropping Ethereum 2.0. It's going to solve the transaction speeds. It's going to solve a lot of the problems that Ethereum currently has. And I have a lot of, confidence in the fact that they'll be able to do it, being that, if you look here, the developer report, this is in 2019. They have 4 times the amount of developers right here, as you can see, than any other, ecosystem in cryptocurrency. I've talked about that before. So they have confidence they're going to be able to integrate into Ethereum 2.0, increase the transaction speed so that we can see applications actually rise. And I would actually argue that they are doing something right now. They're already, making a big impact. So if I go back over here to this chart, you see that the volume here was fairly low in 2017, 2018, but we see Ethereum skyrocketing, right? That indicates that there's a small amount of investors. But if we look here, look at that transaction volume. Look at the 24-hour volume here. Look how much money is being, I wouldn't say traded, but moved across the blockchain compared to its price. Which brings me to my next point, which is the NVT ratio, right? So if I come over here, the NVT ratio is it's usually used in Bitcoin for the purposes that it kind of takes historical data, and people claim that, Ethereum or actually people don't claim Ethereum, but they say that the more historical data, the better this ratio works. Ethereum is pretty aged in my opinion, so I think we can use it. It's basically saying the total value of the market cap, right? How much money is invested in the cryptocurrency divided by daily transaction value. And this is supposed to predict, okay, is it overpriced right now? Is it underpriced, right? So if the value of cryptocurrency is high, right? Let's go back to this chart here. If the value of Ethereum is high, if it's really expensive, $1,400 per coin, but look at the transaction volume is low, then that means that, it's probably the bubble's going to pop. But if the price is low, compared to the transaction volume, that means it's probably undervalued, okay? And I actually have a chart here. This is basically the price predictor calculator. You get it with Blockchain Basics. I'll leave the link in the description below. You don't get it right away, because this part you don't get right away. You actually get the price predictor. But the NVT ratio, I'm actually integrating into this price predictor calculator so that you can do this for any cryptocurrency that you want. So all I did was drop the historical data of Ethereum, the prices since 2015, as you can see here. And basically it's going to give us the NVT ratio, a median of the NVT ratio. So as you can see here, the median market cap, basically, if we took the median of all the market caps over the days and we did the average, we could see that the median market cap is about 16 billion. And you can see that the median transaction volume is about 1 billion. Okay, so the median NVT, which is normal for Ethereum, this is basically saying what's the normal NVT ratio, is about 13 points. Okay, now where this is crazy is if we look here, today's market cap is 29 billion. Okay, and the transaction volume is 20 billion. If we do the actual, NVT ratio of today, right, we can see that it's 1.39. And the lower this NVT ratio is, the, better the investment is, right? So we can see that normally it's at 13. Normally the amount of transactions, versus how much money is in the cryptocurrency is about 13. But today it's at 1.39, saying it's extremely undervalued, basically saying there's a lot of transactions taking place, for how much money is invested in it. So it might be potentially we might have, a market upswing soon, right? And I'm going to provide more evidence for this. We can even look at the past 10 days, $29 billion. And the past 10 days median transaction volume is 24 million. So it's even, in the past 10 days, 1.2, right? Even better of an investment. In the last 100 days, you can see here, 16, billion dollars, 9 billion transaction volume, and we can see a 1.8. So we're seeing that this cryptocurrency is extremely undervalued right now. So what are the catalysts? What's going to drive adoption? I told you guys before, actual application of the cryptocurrency, which is kind of bringing me to my next point here. DeFi Pulse. If you guys don't know what DeFi is, basically decentralized finance. There's these basically traditional tools that they're using in regular finance. We've been using it for years, hundreds of years. These tools like lending, interest, all these cool tools that you can use are coming to decentralized contracts on Ethereum and other cryptocurrencies, of course. But as you can see here, the DeFi industry is growing. It's increasing transactions. MakerDAO, the lending platform it was 609 million by itself. And a lot of people have been claiming the DeFi, space has basically drove adoption recently, at least. It's been basically helping, the adoption of cryptocurrency in general. I think this is one of the biggest, indicators to show that there's people actually using cryptocurrency for things other than speculation. Even though this is a financial tool, it's really important to note that, by the way, guys, there was a hack recently in DeFi, but they did come out with platforms that will actually secure you. They will actually give you insurance on the money that you put into a DeFi platform. So if it does get, hacked, if a decentralized platform gets hacked and your money's in it, you can actually purchase an insurance to get your money back if that ever happens. So people are actually getting paid out right now. But as you can see here, lending and borrowing cryptocurrencies becoming an increasingly important subsector of crypto finance, and it may end up shaping how underlying assets themselves are valued in the price of markets. Everybody thinks, everybody knows, not thinks, everybody knows cryptocurrency is extremely volatile. And the reason for that is because there's big manipulators, but you can't manipulate it as much as people are actually using it. So as we see more money go into cryptocurrency, we're going to see less volatility. It's going to become more and more stable. So let's just read kind of like the final paragraph here. For all benefits to investors and market activity growth, that an active lending and borrowing sector would generate for cryptocurrency industry. The sector is still in its early stages of development. It's $1 billion, still in its early stages of development, and less than 0.01% of the total market capitalization of crypto was deployed in the third quarter of 2019 for collateralizing loans, according to the figures by credit. Okay, so basically what she's trying to say here is that like the interest, all these utilizations of DeFi are going to help drive adoption, and there's already proof. We've already seen it, right? So if we come over here, and the second reason why I believe we're seeing all this volume and the driver of the next cryptocurrency bull market is the non-fungible tokens, right? So basically a non-fungible token or an NFT is some type of value derived on, let me just read this. A non-fungible token is a unique individual token existing on the blockchain such as Ethereum. Unlike cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, each NFT token contains unique data, meaning non-fungible tokens are not interchangeable with each other. So basically what they're saying is they're like collectibles. So like if you guys ever heard of CryptoKitties was a platform where you can like kind of like edit and make your own kitty, I guess. And it went viral. People were using it like crazy. And it's kind of like a collectible, which brings me to the next point. Ronaldinho, Ethereum card just launched by Juventus partnership. So they actually launched a collectible card, right? Think about it like Jordans, right? You don't necessarily, they say that Jordans are kind of like semi-transferable. So you could sell the Jordans for a certain price, but there's a lot of items out there that people just buy for the simple fact that they like them, right? And you can't be exchanged technically for, like if you take like a Forex, for example, if you take the yen and you change it to $1, that's a fungible token. But or not a fungible token, but this is a fungible way of transferring, money, right? You can change $1, you can see the exchange rate and you could change it to the other, right? But with a non-fungible token, people kind of derive their own value to it, right? So some people might get a collectible like a CryptoKitty, or in this case, the Ronaldinho card on the Ethereum blockchain, and they assign their own value to it. All right, and it's really interesting because if you look at all the Ethereum active addresses, the historical chart of people that are actively using Ethereum, and you actually compare it, and this is in 2019, by the way, but they have forecasts to 2020 of how many people are playing games on Ethereum, which give you these non-fungible tokens, which give you these non-fungible, pieces of art in some cases, right? You can get art on the Ethereum platform. There's, Ethereum Heroes or something like that. They have all different types of games that you could play to get these fungible items. And you can see that close to 1/3 of all people that are using cryptocurrency right now are using non-fungible platforms. They're using games. Right? They're playing games. They're doing other things than speculation. And as you can see here, some games like, look, CryptoKitties we were talking about, OX Universe, My Crypto Heroes, non-fungible, medians of value. You have like these little characters that you can sell, and you literally cannot sell it on any market. You just basically sell it and someone buys it and they assign their own value to it. And that's 1/3 of all transactions on cryptocurrency to this date. That's extremely important. This adds to the fact to my argument that Ethereum is basically valued right now at the fact that people are using it. People are using it, and they're going to be using it in the future. We're just starting. People are just starting to use it. This is absolutely nothing, and I'm just going to give you guys more evidence. So if we come here, I trade in market cycles, right? So when I'm looking at the long-term perspective of Ethereum, I'm looking at market cycles, okay? And this is where it gets kind of crazy. This is where I'm going to show you guys, we kind of just started, and this is where we're going to kind of derive the evidence for the $16,000 Ethereum evaluation per coin. So if we come here in January, we can see that just 3 months after January, we started seeing a ridiculous amount of volume here. And then a couple months later, we saw the first parabolic run of Ethereum, okay? So that's really important to understand, because when you're looking at the long-term perspective of things, it's really easy to invest in cryptocurrency. If you're looking on a day-to-day, it's gonna blow your mind. But the long-term cycles, that's what I look for. So if we come over here, January of 2018, for some reason, January is a big catalyst. Even before, started blowing up a couple months before January. And then we saw that during January, it dropped, right? It dropped, the bubble popped, right after January. So it looks like the beginning of a new year is usually catalyst for these cryptocurrencies, and it kept going down until January 2019, which again, we see a couple months later, big volume, huge volume, right? And then a couple months later, we see a parabolic run. Now, of course, we're looking to, kind of test that 345, get above that point, and then we can really say that this is a bull market. But keep in mind, guys, it looks kind of familiar, right? If we come back here to 2017, we had that first spike in volume, the price went up, right? And then we see this huge parabolic run up, right? To the end of 2017, the beginning of 2018, right? So kind of looks like this, right? Big, volume spike up. Even you can even call this a volume spike up. This one right here. Couple months later, we could potentially see it go, crazy, right? And that's, it's great and all, but how much, if I put money in today, how much money can you make in the future? Which brings me to kind of like my ultimate point here. It's gonna blow your mind. So basically, logarithmic regression takes historical price data. They take the history of a cryptocurrency and they kind of make predictions for the future using that data. This is a very simple explanation of logarithmic regression. And the reason why it's so effective is because it actually takes into account the rule of a diminishing returns. So as more people get into cryptocurrency, as more people invest in cryptocurrency, the price or the percentage in which we can make money is going to decrease. Like obviously in the beginning, when the market cap was really small, you invest money, it's going to, if it blew up, it's going to make you more money than now that the market cap's huge, right? So looking at logarithmic regression, we can look at future predictions and they're pretty accurate, like in traditional finance. And even now, very, very accurate, on the big scale, at least, and the future projections. This is actually where I get 2023, $16,000 Ethereum price prediction. So the first thing I want to show you guys right here is just for my new people that don't really understand, to predict the future price of a cryptocurrency, you have to look at the market cap, how much money is invested in it, and divide it by the coin circulating supply. So I believe with this logarithmic regression chart that I recently found here, we can really accurately predict the future market cap. So this is not the market cap of Ethereum. This is the market cap of all cryptocurrencies, market cap of a whole market as a whole, right? So that means it has a lot of historical data. It has a lot of evidence and it can make a pretty accurate prediction in the future, right? So as we can see here, this is basically $1 trillion when we get to 13. In 2023, right here, we're looking at, potentially $10 trillion in all of cryptocurrency, okay? Now, this is important to understand because we have to look at the percentages in which, Ethereum is taking the market. So let's go to coinmarketcap.com and I try to keep this extremely conservative so that you guys don't think I'm kind of BS you or, kind of moon boys, right? I'm not trying to shoot for the stars. I'm giving you guys realistic evidence here. So if we go to Ethereum, actually, we're not going to Ethereum. We're gonna go to BCT dominance. So we're gonna go to BTC dominance. So I can show you guys right here. It shows the dominance of the cryptocurrencies, and how much of the market, they take. So as we can see here, when Ethereum was booming, there was actually a time where Ethereum almost passed Bitcoin. Ethereum had 31% market dominance and Bitcoin had 37% market dominance. It was pretty close. So that was when, Ethereum, taking consideration, Ethereum is getting all this new adoption with all this, crazy transaction volume that we're seeing. I showed you guys the ratio, right? It's conservative to say that we could potentially in 3 years see a 20% market dominance with Ethereum, being that right now we're at about 10%. As you can see there, Ethereum's at 10. Oh yeah, you can see it. My head's not in the way. Ethereum's at 9.88% market dominance. Let's say 20% market dominance for the future of Ethereum. So if we do see the logarithmic regression play out, we do see that in total, the total amount of money in cryptocurrency reaches $10 trillion. And Ethereum captures 20% of that, we can make some serious predictions. So let's go to the price predictor calculator here. Like I said, you get it with my course. And I can show you guys the circulating supply. So the first thing I want to show you is the calculations of the circulating supply that I'm kind of using. And it's not, going to be 100% accurate. Obviously, none of this data is going to be 100% accurate, but let me give you my reasoning. So 2019 Ethereum, they printed about 10% of the coins. Okay, so 10% of, cryptocurrencies, got pushed out into the market. And we know with supply and demand, the more cryptocurrencies actually drops the evaluation of the cryptocurrency, not the evaluation, but the price of cryptocurrency. So right now we're currently at what? 109 million ETH, right? So as you can see here, 109 million ETH that's currently in the circulating supply. So what I did is I took, the 10% into consideration, and then they basically have future projections when they integrate Ethereum 2.0 and Casper, the staking, right? When they move away from minting coins with, mining, they're going to staking. They claim they're going to have the inflation from 0.05 to 2% a year. So let's be conservative here. Let's go into the middle and let's say that the inflation's 5% a year. And this is going to find us And this is going to show us the circulating supply in 3 years. So what I did is I calculated it, I multiplied it by 5% 3 different times, and it shows that in the future, in 3 years, potentially, this is like you guys see, a conservative guess, the future coin circulating supply is going to potentially be 127 million coins. Okay, now that's pretty realistic. Look here, it's at 109, 127 million is not that far off. I think it's going to be close. So if we take 20% of $10 trillion in the future market cap. So if all of cryptocurrency captures $10 trillion, 20% of 10 trillion is 2 trillion, right? So inputting the $2 trillion here and the guesstimate of the future circulating supply, we're going to see that one coin could potentially be 15,000 to 16,000. Sorry guys, in the intro I said 17,000. I meant $15,733. So this is really interesting. I'm just going to throw these numbers at you. And don't take this serious, but it's for fun. So if you invested $1,000 into cryptocurrency at its all-time low, you would have got 2,375 coins. Your percentage increase, I'm not even going to try to say that there, but your profit would have been, $3,400,000 at the all-time high of Ethereum. Okay. If you invested today $1,000 and it goes back to its all-time high, which is $1,400, you guys all know that Ethereum went up to $1,400. If it goes back to that, it's a 446% increase and you'd get about 4 coins. You turn $1,000 into $5,000. Okay. But if you invested $1,000 today, it would give you 3.82 coins. If the future circulating supply, and you guys saw how I did the math, was 127 million coins, and the future market cap captured 20% of that $10 trillion cryptocurrency evaluation, that means the future market cap will be 2 trillion. The coin price will be 15,000, and your $1,000 would turn into 60 grand. Okay, most people, don't even make 30 grand a year, right? So even if you save every single penny, most people can't even save 60 grand a year, even if you have $100,000. Even if you're making 100 grand a year, it's really hard for people to save this type of money. So, being that all this catalyst, just to give you a kind of complete perspective of what I just showed you guys here, being that, last market cycle was speculation, the new market cycle is going to be with DeFi and these, really kind of collectible products and games. And we're already starting to see transaction volume and market adoption already, being that, with linear regression, we can see the market cap in 3 years could potentially hit $10 trillion. And that's not far off because the market cap of cryptocurrency was at 1 trillion at one point, by the way, guys. In 2007, the whole entire market cap was at 1 trillion. Guessing that Ethereum only captures 20%, which in my opinion is probably going to capture a little bit more than 20%. I'm just being honest here. There's more developers in Ethereum than any other project. I think they're going to capture more than 20%. But if they only capture 20%, right? All these taken into consideration, we could potentially see a $16,000 cryptocurrency for Ethereum. $16,000 for one coin. Let's just joke around here. So let's say it captures 30% like it did in 2017. We're going to see a $23,000 coin price in 2023. That's just 3 years from now. 3 years, small investment now to potentially change your whole family's economic situation. Is a great opportunity in my opinion. But that's it for this video, guys. If you like the quality of this content, hit like. If you don't, leave some constructive criticism. Subscribe for more video updates. And like I always say, if you don't get with this technology, you will get left behind. By the way, guys, I have a private group. If you watch this long, go ahead and join my private group. I'm actually paying people to interact and provide valuable knowledge in the group. So if you want to take advantage of that opportunity, go ahead and click the link below. But that's it for this video, guys. Catch you in the next one.